Welcome to Healing Time. Today, we are going to help you minister and better understand those who have been betrayed in what might be considered one of the worst ways a person can be betrayed. So be encouraged to be a better minister after today's journey. Here at Healing Time, we believe that you are a minister of the gospel. No matter how long you've been saved, you can be a minister. We are all priests of the Most High God because of Jesus' sacrifice and resurrection. Now, you might not be called to preach, but you are called to minister to those around you. Now, one of the things that is very human to do is to avoid something that we don't really understand, or we don't know what to do or to say to someone. Examples of this are when there's a death, we don't know what to say, a divorce, a loss of a child, or a prodigal that's causing lots of pain for someone that you really care about. And of course, today's topic of betrayal through infidelity would fall into one of those categories that we don't have any training in. We don't know what to say or to do. So when we're like that as humans, we tend to avoid this wounded person. Well, we don't want to be that person. Now, of course, avoiding the pain and the suffering of others, like those who've been betrayed, is handled quite well in Luke 10, in the very familiar story of a man who was betrayed. The story is called the Good Samaritan, and it's in Luke 10, 25 through 37. And in the interest of time, I won't read the whole story, but you remember, a man was innocently walking down the way to another town, and he gets beat up badly, stolen from by some thieves. A priest and a Levite see the man in pain. They see the pain, and they do nothing. They actually walk on the other side of the street, and they keep going on with their life, pretending that nothing happened to that man. Now, the Good Samaritan, he wasn't a Jew, okay? He sees this man as a person, and he gets involved with his time and his money. In verse 36, Jesus asked the question to those listening, which of these three do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers? And of course, the answer was obvious. It was not the religious people, but those who showed up and cared. Being betrayed by strangers and thieves and crooks, well, that's terrible. However, how would you like to be betrayed by the person in whom you are totally interdependent on, spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, socially, and you have years or decades of life with that person? Well, if this person stood up before your family and their family and friends and promised before God that he or she would forsake all others and cling only to you, and then he or she, for whatever reason that had nothing to do with you, decided to cultivate a secret life of their own and begin to cheat, and then they got caught or exposed, this would not be a bad day. This would be one of the worst days of this person's life. Their whole world was blown up. I know because for almost 40 years, women and men have found their way to my office, okay, and they take a polygraph to verify what's going on, and they find out that their husband or their wife has betrayed them in the absolute worst way. When they get this news, let me just share with you what happens. They scream. They convulse like wild animals. They weep with such tears. They literally sometimes ball up in pain when they hear that they've been betrayed, because trauma affects your spirit, soul, and body, and it's overwhelming to them. And they're in a nightmare that they've never imagined. And I'm talking about good Christian women, good Christian men who serve God, who love their family, who love the church, and they're broken and devastated and fractured in ways that you can't even imagine. These are the walking wounded in every church, and I mean every church. The rise of social media, the access to pornography and hookup sites have made this behavior easier to participate in and to be tempted by, and believing that there's a secret world where there really isn't, but they believe that and they get deceived. These brave women and men who've been betrayed have done nothing, but they are devastated. And many who want to heal their marriages, well, that's the topic of what we're going to talk about today, so that you can help them carry this burden of betrayal. What if the church could be a place where you could have a friend if you've been hurt? And they sit beside you. And they often try to talk to their pastor about their pain, but they need someone to actually walk with them who can understand and be compassionate with the betrayal without all the judgment or trying to understand everything, that someone actually can be you. You don't ever have to be informed to be that person. You don't have to have experienced the pain of being betrayed by pornography, or online affairs, or emotional affairs. You don't ever have to even have a scar of any kind. How do I know? Jesus didn't. And he healed and set people free. And yet, the people who were broken needed him. I'm just going to be an advocate for the next minute. There are men and women in your church right now. Go ask your pastor. Just say, Pastor, how many people have you talked to in the last month or two who have been damaged by pornography, or infidelity, or online affairs, or anything that remotely like that? He'll tell you, and it'll be a number, 2, 3, 5, 10. Because I know that as a counselor, when I go into a church and I speak on whatever topic, marriage, men, women's issue, doesn't really matter, the pastor will tell me, Doug, I can't believe how many people are struggling with infidelity and pornography, and it's blowing up marriages I never thought I would see blown up. An elder, a deacon, a Sunday school teacher. I'm like, I know, Pastor. And of course, we give them the resources that we're talking about today. But I just want to just be an advocate for a minute and just open your eyes. This is happening in your church. You can be a solution, or you can ask the pastor to get the materials we're talking about and get it and give it to him. Say, here, put this in the hands of somebody who will love these people enough to sit in a room or sit at home with them once a week, go through the materials, help them heal, help them utilize the healing that's provided. I've been doing this for 40 years. There's lots of wisdom in this information. And I've seen thousands of women and men heal from being betrayed. This is a real deal. And Jesus has experienced betrayal. He will walk with them, but he really likes when he has someone with skin on him who can say, I love you. And if you've been betrayed, this could easily be your ministry. You could make the worst day of your life the best day of someone else's. When you hug them and you say, I understand, and they know you do, it can heal something inside of them. I can tell you, I've seen it. I've seen it in women's groups. I've seen it with men who've been betrayed. When you touch someone with the pain that you've been healed from, it ministers to them in such a life-giving way. Well, I'm going to encourage you to stay with us, because we're going to get into some deep stuff today. And I know these are topics that the church doesn't address. That's why Healing Time does. Because we can't heal from something that we don't know about, or something that we don't have the tools or be equipped in. I'm here to equip you to do your ministry in your church, to heal your church, to heal your community right where you are. So don't turn that dial, because we'll be right back.
Our heart is with those of you who have walked through the pain of betrayal. We believe healing is possible, and you don't have to face this journey alone. Dr. Doug's DVD and book set offer guidance and support for those seeking to recover from betrayal. Go to daystar.com/healing time or give us a call today.
Well, thanks for staying with us today. This topic is very important to discuss, because so many in the church, and even more in the community, are experiencing betrayal from their spouse. The numbers seem to be growing every year. It is epidemic. Infidelity, porn addiction, emotional affairs, online stuff, it's growing constantly. And if you think about it, even for a minute, you may know somebody, a Christian leader, are just a person in your church who's been betrayed by their spouse. I've been a Christian for over 40 years, and more than half of my pastors have fallen to sexual immorality, leaving their wives in pain, being betrayed by their pastor, their husband, their provider. Oh my gosh, it's so painful. The perpetrator of the act sometimes gets a lot of attention from the media or other people, but the spouse is the one who's bludgeoned in every area of their life. I want to walk through that. Their past, what they thought was their past, is gone, and it's tainted with what has really happened. Their present is insecure. They don't know what to do. Learning how to trust again, being shot with the bullets, having possibly their finances, their social circle, even their church taken away from them. Their future is all damaged by the betrayal because it's not certain anymore what their future is. This is why they need an advocate. They need a friend. They need someone to be that bridge in this season. In my book, Partner Betrayal Trauma, we did a research study with over 140 women who've experienced betrayal in one of these three ways. The betrayal could be infidelity. The second could be sexual addiction or porn addiction. The third is intimacy anorexia, which is the active withholding of spiritual and emotional and physical intimacy from your spouse. The spouse of the intimacy anorexics suffer from neglect, which is just as bad as abuse and infidelity. Interesting enough, all three of these women, whether they've experienced any one of those, infidelity, porn addiction, or intimacy anorexia, when they were tested over several scales, because it was a research project, they were usually within 1 or 2% of each other on every scale. So it's not the type of betrayal that makes a difference as far as the symptoms of betrayal. It's the who that betrays you. When a woman is betrayed by her spouse, or a man as well, many who are Christians say they suffer so much. I mean, the research was amazing, okay? They suffer tremendously, just like men do. And I want to highlight just a few of these statistics so you can know how this person is hurting. You can be equipped, okay, so you can help that person who's a Sunday school teacher, that deacon, or the person who sits next to you in church when they get betrayed. Paul said in 1 Thessalonians 5:23 that we are a spirit, a soul, and a body. When we are traumatized by betrayal, our bodies suffer tremendously. In our study, 71% of the women had a variety of physical symptoms from betrayal, and it's a whole list of symptoms. Their body took a hit. Let's look at depression, which can be caused by our spirit or soul or body. Before these women were traumatized, 26% met the criteria for depression. Compare that 26% to after being betrayed, it went up to 88% were qualified for a depression diagnosis. Okay, that's how much the trauma affected them. This would include feeling hopeless, low energy, difficulty concentrating, difficulty making decisions, weight gain or weight loss, sleep disturbances, a whole bunch of symptoms. These women constantly report that they do not feel like they are the same person after being betrayed. And our study showed their self-esteem was greatly impacted by the betrayal in their life. Now, in counseling these women and men, and I've done this for 40 years, they have many symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. Many of these women have as many of these post-traumatic stress symptoms. I mean, 82% experience intense fear. 86% experience intense hopelessness. 97% have intrusive thoughts about the betrayal, okay? 87% experience triggers. 88% have diminished interest in activities, which means they're not interested in doing anything. 92% feel impaired in several domains of their lives, okay? And sadly, many of these women experience these symptoms for longer than a year. Now, the Partner Betrayal Trauma book or DVD or the workbooks have so many more of these statistics and the impact of women. And it really is helpful if you're a minister of women in any type to at least get the book or the DVD to understand the impact, the statistics. These women and men feel like they've been hit by a truck, but nobody can see it as they get up day after day, raising their family, going to church, going to work, and trying to be there for others as they're bleeding, as they're just bludgeoned, trying to repair themselves and their marriage. This is why we're talking about this particular subject. Many are the walking wounded in every church. I mean, every church has this going on. Every church can have an intelligent ministry to these women, a place where they can work through the workbooks and materials, talk to one another, pray for one another, and get stronger together. If you've experienced betrayal, you can take your wound and turn it into your ministry, whether you do it in your home, do it online, do it in your church, ask your pastor if it's in your church, and you can minister to these women. Now, in the next segment, I want to talk to you specifically about how you can be a blessing in this situation. But again, I want to just pour out my heart. For 40 years, I've seen these women travail. I've seen them cry. I've seen them look their husband in the eye as they are told about the infidelity, the porn, the betrayal, the neglect. I've seen these women ache in pain because they've been unloved, untouched. Their husband's not being sexual with them. There's so much pain and neglect as well. So regardless, and men suffer with this as well. There are men who've experienced infidelity. There's men who've experienced neglect from their wives. They're not touched, they're not encouraged, they're not really feeling like they're loved at all. They feel married and alone. They feel betrayed as well. There's so much betrayal happening in the church. We should be experts at it, okay? Our God was betrayed. He understands betrayal. He was betrayed in the Old Testament. He was betrayed in Christ Jesus. We know he is that person. He's that high priest who understands. But it really does help, I can tell you, because I've seen thousands of women helped by other women and men helped by other men who can go to a group in a church or in a home or in an office, and they can just let down and say, this is where I'm at this week. This is what's going on. I love Jesus, but I'm hurting, okay? And I need someone to help me carry this. I want to get to the other side, whether it's repairing my marriage, healing my heart, whatever it is their goals are, but they really need you. I'm imploring you, if you've never been betrayed, start a group. There's enough people in your church who need this ministry. If you have been betrayed, use your betrayal as a healing vessel to other people who've been there. It is time for us to be the church. We are in a time when revival has to happen, and we need every person who's wounded to be healed. So be part of the solution. I want to encourage you to get Partner Betrayal Trauma if this has impacted your life or someone you know. There is a DVD, there's a book, there's workbooks. You can get one or all of it. It can help you heal. It's like therapy in a box, seriously. I've been working with this for 40 years. This will change your life. So get this, maybe start a group with some other ladies and get healing from the trauma. Look at the number on your screen, the website, you can get it today and heal yourself, and I encourage you to heal others. Well, thank you so much for caring enough to stay with us as we desire to help and heal those women and men who have experienced betrayal from their spouses. I mean, if you've not experienced it, you cannot understand. It's like a nuclear bomb goes off inside of you, not outside of you, inside of you. Everything in your life is different in a nanosecond. Everything changes. Who you can trust, do you trust? What do you believe? Where was God? All these things happen in your heart in seconds. It's overwhelming. That's why we call it trauma, because it is trauma. When someone's betrayed, it's trauma. It's like being shot, but not being shot by a stranger, being shot by the one who said, I will never forsake you, okay? I'm talking about they stand up in the vows and say, I won't forsake all others. I will only pursue you. I will love, honor, and cherish you. And then poof, they blow up your life. Now, first, if you can love these women and men and you're able to read, you are totally qualified to minister. Here at Healing Time, we don't make excuses for not ministering. We make it so simple. If you can read or push a button, you can minister in the name of Jesus. You can love people. You can start a group in your home, online, in your office, at your church. Now, if you start a church, go through the appropriate pastor, and you can show them the show, you can show them the materials, you can show them that, hey, this is good stuff. We want to heal people. If they have any questions, they can shoot me an email, they can reach out. I want the church to be a community where women and men can feel safe from healing from anything. If you go to our website, it has addiction recovery, it has people with worthless issues, it has marriage materials, all kinds of things. We want the church to be healed and well. But first, we have to get educated, at least through the book or the DVD, Partner Betrayal Trauma. Then get together with the workbooks and have a group once a week or every other week, and you do this with them. Check on their progress. Call them, okay? Do the 5 commandments, okay? Tell them to pray in the morning and ask God to help them get through the healing process. Have them read the materials and read the Word of God. Have them call one another every day for the first 90 days, because that is so important, to feel like there's somebody there for you, because you never know what day is going to be that day when the bottom drops out in your heart. You don't know if you can make it, and you need someone just to say, you can, and I'll carry you today. I'll come over and have coffee if I need to. I'll take you shopping. Let's go do, some shopping therapy. Or if you're a guy, let's go out and, hit a few balls or go get a burger, right? You can change your life that day. This is so important, because when you are traumatized, you can reset your whole development. And if they go into mistrust and isolation, it can hurt them for years or decades. We are the church. We heal in community. We don't heal by ourselves. Of course, you can get the materials and go through that yourself, but we heal better when we do it together, okay? The calls, they can make a bad day a very good day, because what they remember is, Susie was there for me that day. I was just ready to call it quits, and she just brought heaven down, and we just prayed, and all of a sudden my eyes opened up, and I'm like, you know what? I got enough oomph to do it today. I can do it today. You know what? Be that Susie, be that John, who can be there for that person. And lastly, have them pray again at the end of the day, thanking God for helping them get through that day of healing, okay? And you don't have to facilitate this group forever. Just do it for 6, 10, 12 weeks. Someone will rise up who has this pain, and they will be happy to carry this group. So if you start it, you can turn it over to others. You don't have to feel like this is the rest of your life, okay? The ministry of this, dealing with trauma people, okay, it's dealing with people you won't imagine sitting in your church. And what's really exciting is other churches will find out about your ministry of healing these women, and if they don't have that ministry, they'll send them to you, okay? So whether they're sitting next to you in church or they're online in your groups, okay, they can share their hope and their strengths with each other and be really encouraged. We have some people who do this online with their Facebook group people or their other social media people, and they get the workbooks and stuff, and they check in on Zoom or some other social media, and they talk to each other, and they heal each other, and they strengthen each other by their experiences, okay? And you can be one of those people who just provides the format to say, hey, let's do this. If you've experienced this, because some of you have thousands of followers of people you've never met, and you put a little out there, say, listen, if you've been betrayed by your husband or wife, okay, now these need to be gender-specific groups. If you're a lady, do ladies. If you're a man, do men, okay? We want to get together. Here's the material we're going to cover, and get it, and let's get started. We'll see you on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Do that. Betrayal is not something you totally understand until you go through it, but you don't have to go through it to be helpful. When you've gone through betrayal and you can reach out and you can touch somebody, there's an immediate bond. I can tell you, I've sat in these groups many years of my life, and when one person heals another wounded person, it does a lot of healing, okay? And it can really, really help you. And I can tell you, the Spirit of God can show up in such a powerful way. not just in their life, but in your life. You know, there's something about being between a hurting person and the Lord Jesus Christ. I can tell you, I've gotten so much revelation by being in that seat when God would say something through me that would minister to them and to me, or it'd be like, wow, Lord, that's a great book idea. I need to write that down. I would literally write down that and put that on the side, and I'd write that book later, okay? God will give you revelation. He'll give you things like words of knowledge and things in a supernatural way in the healing context. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, that scripture talks about in restoration, I'm there, okay? Healing Times offers so many helpful tools in so many different areas. You can be a healing minister. Just go to the website, find out how you can heal a marriage, how you can heal the addicted, how you can heal the brokenhearted in some way. I have seen thousands heal from betrayal, and I've seen the betrayers heal, okay? I've seen the marriages heal, okay, better than ever. Their stories might have experienced a tragedy, absolutely, but with some loving, intelligent support, we can see our brothers and our sisters in Christ heal, reclaim their lives, raise their kids together. Okay, I've seen churches embrace these type of ministries, and when people in the community, they find out, they get attracted to this because of the pain they're in. They need a place to go. And wouldn't it be great if the people in pain in our community would have to go to church to find love and solution? You know, this reminds me of the way Jesus did ministry. He would heal their situation, and then later they would find out who he was. That is what Healing Time is all about, equipping you to do ministry. Yes, ministry. It's messy, but it's so rewarding as well. You can help these women or men work through the hurt, the anger, the grief, the loss that they've experienced. You can help them heal from the other wounds that they might have, as well as see them get back on their feet, get their life back, not have the depression, not have the PTSD symptoms, get physically healthier. I have dedicated decades to these hurting women and men and written much more than anyone else on the planet for them because I want them to heal. Okay, you can be a hero in their life by just being there. Okay, they've been impacted, but you can have an impact on helping them heal from betrayal. So open your heart, your home, open the materials, and you can see Jesus show up right where you are and have your own healing time. If you have never asked Jesus Christ into your life, I want to give you that opportunity. Or if you've walked away, it's time to come home. And it's not hard. Just say a prayer, something like this. Say, Jesus, forgive me of my sins. I make you Lord of my life right now. I will follow you. Fill me with your Spirit. If you prayed anything that cries out to God that says, I need you, He's heard your prayer. And He's given you eternal life, but you need to understand the gift He's given to you. So we're going to give you the Gospel of John. It has a QR code in it so you can understand the Word of God that you're reading, and also a Now What book so you can walk out your Christian faith. We want you to love God and to serve Him. Well, today has been awesome to help you at least empathize and maybe better understand those who've experienced betrayal in your church, in your community, or in your family. They need your love and understanding in the worst chapter of their life. You can be that person who's there for them, even if it's just to help them understand what they're going through. Be the Jesus with skin on. Encourage them in this way or in many other ways that are on our website. You are a minister, so go ahead and minister. And until I see you next time, tell somebody about Jesus Christ.